Hello, welcome along to this week's episode of the Let's Get Running podcast. How is the Caramel Kid?
What? I'm good. How is the work they were doing? Is he recovered, recuperated, and ready to rumble?
He has. He's had a few beers. He's had some red wine. He's had a lot of licorice. He's a bit over here in Amsterdam. If you know Holland, they love the licorice over here. They call it drop. I've been slamming back the drop. Yeah, no, not licorice drink. Eating it up. I've been eating it up. They do salted bits. Like I think it's quite a particular taste, isn't it? Like a salty sweet. It's quite. Oh, that's what I like. That sort of stuff. Yeah. We're joking here, but the show is about food. So we shouldn't make too light of it. We're joking amongst ourselves, but we've got a good interview with Tom Fairbrother in a minute. And Tom is alongside Vinnie McGregor, who is a good friend of the show. She's often been on here. She helped me out a lot with my Project 220, with my nutrition. They've started up a charity called Train Brave. And Tom's going to talk way more detail about that in a minute. But it's looking at athletes and their propensity for picking up eating disorders and how they want people to talk about it and to address problems with eating disorders and athletes. So they want to provide a place where people can talk about it, where clubs and athletes can come and find resources and ways to help and manage their problems with eating, and generally just to bring more awareness to the problem, really, which is a really great thing that Tom and Rini are doing. So we want to support them with that. So I guess Tom will talk a little bit more about that in a deal. Hang on. We haven't even talked about what's been going on with you, what's been going on the buses. We can come back to the train. How is things? How has work been?
Well, all I can say is don't use public transport on Halloween.
Ooh.
That's all I can say. It was madness. It's almost like a series of unfortunate events. So I'm on a bus. From Cuttis, they give me 6 minutes to get from Cuttis Ark to North Greenwich out of service to take my lunch, and I've got an hour lunch.
Yeah.
And obviously I have to return back there.
Yeah.
Most people just stay at Cuttis Ark, but there's nowhere to just park the bus, so you have to sort of park it legally.
Yeah.
But the Blackwall Tunnel went down.
Yeah.
The traffic's horrendous. So I was thinking, I'm going to milk it. I'm just going to, go back, get some overtime.
Yeah.
Get extra coins.
Yeah.
So it takes me an hour to get back, and they gave me 6 minutes. So obviously I'm well late.
Yeah.
I ring the controller up and says, I'm late, Muley. He starts having a go at me because he wanted me to stay, but he can't say that. So he's like, you're the only bus that's delayed. What's going on? And I was so mad. I was like, I don't know what you've been smoking. And he goes, he's like, I don't like your attitude. I'll put in your report. I said, do what you want. I said, check the CCTV, right?
Yeah.
So after lunch, I have my lunch. I'm in a bad mood because obviously I'm having a little spat with the controller.
Yeah.
Right. So in my head, I want to drive as slow as possible just to sort of wind him up.
Yeah, yeah.
But on the other side, I don't, because I don't want to pick up all loads of people.
Yeah.
So he gives me a turn of half the journey.
Yeah.
And so I turn, I think, this is going to be nice. It should be empty. I pull in. It's Greenwich University, which is at Avery Hill.
Yeah. There
must have been 40 students, all fancy dress.
Yeah.
I'm on a single decker, and bus was packed. First up, I was like, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right? I had to boot loads of them off because they all had alcohol. And then they were all singing like, Goggy, Oggy, Oggy, Oi, Oi. It's like a party bus.
What time of the day was this?
It was a late shift, so it must have been like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
At night.
Yeah.
And so there's loads of singing, loads of chanting. And luckily there was no one else at any of the stops for ages.
Yeah.
So there's that party. Then we pull into Blackheath, and no word of a lie. Obviously, someone wanted to get off, so I had to stop.
Yeah.
It looked like about 100 hoodies.
Yeah.
I kid you. You'd think they've escaped from juvenile or something. There was so many.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So I would have just drove past the stop. But I couldn't because someone wanted to get off, and I was thinking the next stop's all the way down the hill. So I was thinking, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I only opened the back doors, and they all rushed on the back doors. But my bus was already packed.
Yeah.
And it was funny because obviously it was all party bus, and then when all these and the kids were only like they're only 14, but they all had their hoods up and looked.
Yeah.
All these university students, silence. They all shit their pants. right?
Yeah.
But it got dangerous though because some of them had fireworks and stuff, so they wouldn't.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
they were going to let fireworks off of the bus, and I was thinking, like, and I was like, I stopped the bus, turned it off, said, "This bus terminates here," right?
Yeah.
Everyone was moaning. I said, "No, no, no," and I said, "Look, I don't mind you getting on for free, but I said everyone can't get on because I said I'm already full."
Yeah.
I said, "So half of you have to get on, half of you have to stay there."
Yeah.
So then they argued amongst themselves, and in the end, they all get off, but so do half of the students because they were getting worried and scared.
Yeah.
So I quickly close all the doors and drive off.
Yeah.
So I've only got half a bus now, but like happy days.
Yeah.
Right? Get to the end of the road, I see some more youngsters, they blimmin' egg the bus.
No.
I was like, can you believe this?
So a great day to travel on London's busy transport system.
Yeah, and all I was thinking, God help the blimmin' next bus driver, because they will probably let the firework off in the bus.
Jesus. So, lesson for all of us: if you are out in London on Halloween, don't bother. Go home. Get back in your house. Yeah. You're scaring the dogs. You're scaring all the animals. Dogs don't like fireworks. Yeah, get back in your house.
Scaring the students.
Bus drivers. Yeah. Poor students. What are they doing? They're just shouting "Oggy, Oggy, Oggy" and annoying everybody.
Because even Centrecom was saying so many drivers were getting egged, like the buses. So many drivers kept calling Centrecom, which is like the main radio station that every bus company calls, like for police assistance.
Yeah.
And they were saying, okay, there's been so many incidents. Stop calling Centrecom. Just call your garages. Yeah. Only call us if the bus has been vandalised, because then they could send the police to the incident. I was thinking, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I'm in danger, and you're putting me through this. Yeah.
But like, all depends where the egg hits, because if the egg hits the middle of the screen, you can't see nothing.
Oh, Jesus.
And if you put the water on, because if they put egg and flour, you put the water on, then obviously it's all smeared across the screen, and then you can't see.
It's game over. Wow.
It's like, because obviously the bus goes fast, and it almost sounds like a rock.
Does it?
Explodes. Yeah.
Jesus.
But I was like, bloody hell. I was thinking, I think Halloween, this is the purge. You know what I'm saying?
What those young kids are doing, if they were athletes, they should have been eating those eggs. They should have been eating them with a nice, that's a good link. That was a bit terrible. Anyway, we're going to talk to Tom in a minute about his sort of personal journey and his relationship with food and how things have changed and how he started off Train Brave in a minute. But for you, Jermaine, how's been your relationship with food? Like, how have you, as a runner, as an athlete, as a track athlete, where you want to be lean and you want to be light on the track, have you had what's your relationship been like with food?
So when I was on UK funding, their nutritionist, so she was trying to get me to eat more, and I couldn't. So really? In the end, I didn't bother. But they were trying to, because you need carb. Yeah. She was just like saying, take instant sugar carb.
Really?
So it's just like pure sugar loading, which is fine because obviously I like sugar and stuff. Yeah. But towards the end of the career, when you do that, it's obviously a lot harder.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I went back to steeplechase from 1500 and stuff,
I
was really paranoid about my weight.
Yeah.
So I was trying to lose weight, so I'd skip lunch, and then I love biscuits, so I used to eat a pack of biscuits every day. So I was trying to cut back on my sugar and stuff.
Yeah.
So training was going really well. I was losing weight, but then I was racing crap.
Yeah.
And then when I got my blood tested and stuff, and it's just like they're saying, "Oh, you just don't have enough energy."
Oh, really? So not enough carbohydrate?
I didn't have to train, but when I had to push myself harder, I was just empty.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
So obviously I said, "Oh, shit." So yeah, you have to like find a balance. You can't just like cut it, like cut stuff out and it's like keep training and think I'll be all right.
Yeah. And because long term as well, it's like you can get short term gains by doing that sort of thing to some degree, but to sort of by trying to get lighter and by trying to lose weight and that sort of thing. But I don't know about you, but long term.
Yeah, nothing. Well, let's be fair. No one can stay thin for long term anyway.
No.
But what about you? Did you have any?
Yeah, I don't know. Like Like when the year before I had my best year, I I think I was told that I was carrying a bit of weight and I could probably lose that and get faster. And to be fair, I did, and I did get faster, but I've never really kind of gone into it that hard, and I try not, like I do. I think there is a danger. I think you can see yourself, like sometimes when you think, oh, I better not eat this and I better not eat that because I've got a couple of weeks till I've got a big race and I don't want to be carrying this weight and stuff. And there is a real, it's a thin line you can see from particularly if you were seeing a lot of results and you were improving and you were close to kind of achieving your PBs and things. There's a thin line between, like, I don't know, I quite easily see how that could become addictive and how you could
well, I know people that they weigh their food and stuff. And you think, whoa.
Yeah.
Like for me, that sort of stuff adding into running takes the fun out of running.
Yeah. I think there's one, like, on the other hand, the biggest problem is looking at other people and thinking that like using them as a model, because I know that if I ate the same plate of food as you, we both like use that fuel in completely different ways. And I'll
just start talking more and your hair will go longer.
Exactly, yeah. Like I remember when I did a trip with Britain, and it's a bit different because it's eating too much. But I remember Robbie Simpson, right? If everyone knows Robbie can eat like 2 pizzas and not know he's eating a pizza, not know he's eating anything. Do you know what I mean? He can just eat, but he just burns it so quick. Or there's part of his metabolism that he's able to process that really quickly. And you'd see him eating, you'd think, I better eat some more food because Robbie's going to eat the buffet out in a minute if I don't let him get on with it. And so then I remember doing that. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but he's a big eater, but he's really thin and lean, but that's what his body does. That's what he does. And I then like, oh, Robbie's eating that, it'd be fine. Robbie's, he is the number one in mountain runner. He knows what he's doing. I'll eat that. And actually, I had stomach problems in the race, which weren't that bad, but I had stomach problems when I went away and did a race with the mountain running, and it was because I didn't follow what my pattern I'd found was good for me. Yeah. So you can look at someone who, like, you think, oh, they're not eating, they're a vegan, or they're not doing this and they're not doing that, and they're only eating non-gluten free. It doesn't matter what they're eating because that's a completely different thing to you. So I think not only is it it's dangerous because you can get addictive to being thin because it helps you. We all love running. We want to run our fastest. It's quite easy to do that, which obviously is crap because it eventually, like you did, you ran out of energy, you couldn't race. And also it's difficult because now, like in the modern day, you look at everyone's putting stuff of their food up on the internet and all that sort of thing, and also you go away with it on trips with the people and they see what they eat, and you think that's the way to do it. That person's a vegan. There's so many YouTube videos like what I eat as a runner and what I do as a runner. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't really think those things are very helpful or useful to anyone because, I mean, they can give you ideas of some good recipes, but I'd rather speak to a dietitian and look at someone who's looking at what you're doing rather than worrying about what everyone else is doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right, because it comes down to, like, when you talk to nutritionists, they ask you body weight and, lifestyle, so they do tailor it to you.
Yeah.
But obviously my problem was trying to not eat, and then, like, one of my coaches was saying, like, what's the point of having the chassis of a Ferrari but filling it up with water?
Yeah. That's a good one, that. Yeah. That must have been Ken, right?
Yeah, I was like, fuck, I better do something.
Yeah. Well, let's go over to Tom and let's have a listen to his experience and see what and see how we can also get involved with Train Brave. Here he is. So on this week's show, I'm talking to Tom Fairbrother. How you doing, Tom?
I'm good, Sean. How you doing?
Very well. And there's so many things we could be talking about. You are the communications executive at Parkrun. Is that right? Is that the right title I've given you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a good marathon runner, so we could talk marathons. and also a fellow Middlesbrough fan.
not as good as you, but
Well,
I am. Yeah,
yeah.
joined together by our struggles.
Yeah, and both from completely nowhere near Middlesbrough. So, whereabouts were you born?
From Suffolk, so born and bred in Suffolk. So
Yeah.
Ipswich is my local team, but I was seduced by Ravanelli in the late
Right.
90s
Yeah.
and made that terrible decision back then and just stubbornly stuck through the dark times.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, I was born in Dorset, which is even further from Middlesbrough, so I don't know really why. My mum was born from there, so basically I've followed her team, but yeah, I'm not sure why I did it. Anyway, enough of Middlesbrough. We're here to talk about the Train Brave campaign, which I guess is aimed at shedding light on the issue of eating disorders amongst endurance athletes. Would you say is a
Yeah. Essentially, it's just we kind of just want to raise, it's a bit of a cliche thing to say, but just kind of raise awareness really in terms of obviously the issue and some of the stories from people who have had, have had experiences, but also try and be more proactive in terms of what we can actually do and like things we can influence and input to make changes and just kind of make everyone better equipped and aware of what these issues are, kind of how they start, what to look out for, but also how we can kind of proactively stop them from happening or intervening early, which is so important.
Yeah, and this is an issue that's close to you because you went through issues with eating in your running career. Can you take us back to the 2013 and the situation there?
Yeah, sure. So I was quite not late to running because I know people get in late, but I'd always played football and golf kind of growing up, and I started running properly in 2012. So I did my local 10K and ended up joining my local running club quite soon after that, and started to improve quite quickly as people do, when they suddenly start training with a bit of structure and don't just go out and run kind of like a loony every day. Yeah, so my time sort of, with a bit of coaching, my times got quite quickly, and I did my first marathon that autumn. Right. So I'd done sort of 10K and stuff over the summer and did my first marathon in Munich in October 2012.
Yeah.
Kind of went off at suicide pace as naive first-time marathon runners do.
Yeah.
Kind of had an almighty kind of detonation at mile 21-ish.
Yeah.
But I finished in 2:38. So, it was a pretty good first marathon. And obviously I did so many things wrong.
Yeah.
That I just thought, God, the potential here is huge. And I basically had, I got a place in uni the following September to study sports science. So I effectively had about 9 or 10 months, effectively like a gap year. So I thought, I don't know where the thought necessarily came from. I think I'd just read Running with the Kenyans. So I was kind of inspired and I'd saved up some money and, I was still quite new to running. I had the whole running bug. So I thought I'd go out to Kenya for 3 months to train for London.
Nice.
Obviously not with any grand aspirations, but just to, make the most of the time and the chance that was kind of effectively, like once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I got out there in January 2013, and I'd still had quite a few issues because the last few miles in the marathon were so grim. I'd had sort of various niggles and stuff, and like with most people, I sort of wanted to rush back to training really soon after the marathon, and so I got out there in January. I just sort of self-funded the trip myself.
Yeah.
And probably within a week, I just broke down because I wasn't really fit in hindsight to start training, and I was just caught up in the whole, excitement and enthusiasm of being out in Iten. GB team were there.
Right,
the GB team were there at the same time, so there was kind of Mo Farah was there, and there's all these kind of like elite runners, and obviously all the local Kenyans out. So I sort of rushed into running, broke down within about a week. I think it's my second or third run, and then effectively you're just, it's Eldoret where everyone trains, Iten where everyone trains, just really, really remote village. Like it really is what it looks like. You are, the roads are kind of barely paved. There's no sort of street lights. There's power cuts like every hour. Yeah. So there's pretty much nothing to do but, run,
Yeah.
eat, sleep. It's perfect for training, but when you're injured, it's probably
It's
the
the worst place
worst
you can
place
be.
you can be,
Yeah.
because you can't run. You're surrounded by people who are running,
Yeah.
and there's literally nothing else to do. So I was cross training and stuff, but obviously I was feeling pretty low, like a bit of a fraud, to be honest. I felt like I was already one of the slowest runners out there, and then I wasn't training, and I was there on my own, and just sort of felt like a bit really low looking back on it. And I just got chatting to a guy just sitting around the pool one day. It was an Australian guy, and he was like a masters runner and a coach as well.
Yeah.
And he got chatting, and he sort of said, "Oh, how much do you weigh?" Which, looking back, was a bit weird. It's a weird question, but we just got chatting, and he was like, "Oh, if you got down to this certain weight, that would massively reduce your training times, your race times, sorry."
Wow.
And I was like, it's the sort of thing that you would just brush off normally. But I think because I was there, I was unable to train. I didn't really have anything to kind of, contextualize it at all. And it just became this kind of sort of obsession whilst I was out there, that I was kind of like, okay, well, I can't run, but, I can control what I'm eating, and, just start doing a bit more cross training in the gym. And I sort of just became obsessed with kind of food and weight and stuff.
Yeah.
So when the next 2 or 3 weeks I was out there, like, I'd lost a lot of weight in a really short period of time.
Yeah.
But I was still, a couple of times I tried to run again, just kept breaking down. So I kind of sort of swallowed my pride and just decided to come back.
Yeah.
When I got back, I felt like, I'd made a big thing about going there, and then I just suddenly felt like a bit of a failure. But I just developed this obsession with kind of food and weight, and that just, when I came back, I thought maybe, when I get home comforts and be around friends and stuff, that it would just be one of these passing things. But if anything, it just became a lot worse, because maybe it was the whole thing that I kind of felt like a bit of a failure.
Yeah.
It just sort of festered, and for the next few months, I would just, starve myself for really long periods.
Wow.
And I was training more and more, because I'd sort of eventually got back running.
Yeah.
And that obviously became unsustainable, to be doing kind of the mileage I was doing on effectively nothing.
Yeah.
So I then developed bulimia after that. So
did it quickly get to that stage then? Did you, having had this advice from this Australian guy, was it a very quick process, or?
Yeah, I was looking back. It's surprising how, I think because I was in this really concentrated environment, where there was literally nothing else to do or think about. The focus was purely on training.
Yeah.
That it effectively became like my training was to get my weight down. And so looking back, it did develop really quickly. And then, so for a couple of months, I was just starving myself for long periods. And then that got to kind of, I'd get to the point where I would, I'd sort of wake up, go for a run, eat nothing all day.
Oof.
And then when I eventually did eat something that night, kind of like my body's survival instincts would take over.
Yeah.
And I'd have something to eat, and I would just be sort of out of control. My body would just be wanting kind of more and more. And that's when I sort of developed bulimia from there.
Right.
Because I would just kind of eat uncontrollably, effectively.
Yeah.
And then just sort of make myself sick. And it was just this cycle every day. And that carried on for probably 2 years, or just under 2 years.
Yeah.
This daily cycle of, overtraining, eating, like starving for long periods, then sort of binging and making myself sick afterwards.
And
to the point where, my weight has just plummeted.
Yeah.
Like, I lost probably about a quarter or a third of my body weight, which might not sound massive, but when you consider I was, pretty at a healthy weight to start with, you can see how I got into kind of all kinds of trouble, really.
Yeah. And what was I was going to say your relationship with running at the time, but how were you with friends and guys you trained with, and how did it affect your mental state at that point in time? Yeah,
I mean, it's a cycle where, to hide the fact I was losing so much weight, clearly if I'd have been losing weight without training, people might have begun to wonder kind of what was going on. So I was effectively hiding my weight loss behind training more, which obviously when you're underweight and not fueling, training more is the last thing and the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
So, you're in this position where kind of, I was well aware probably, a few months down the line that what I was doing was clearly not normal or healthy or sustainable. But once you're in it, like it's pretty hard to explain to people, but it's like an eating disorder is very much like it's like a 24/7 mental illness. It's not just, you get a bit fussy when you have a meal. It's like this all consuming thing. And it kind of just gripped me. And, you got this fear of kind of putting on weight.
Yeah.
But, to get better, you're going to have to put on weight. So it's like you're in this cycle of, your behaviour is wrong, but you can't really stop it.
Yeah.
And
I guess you're constantly punishing yourself, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And your weight's getting lower and lower. So you're having to train more so people don't get suspicious, but then training more is leading to more weight loss. Do you know what I mean? You can see how it kind of starts from something quite innocent, but in the right circumstances, it just festers and sort of spirals. And like you say, you then start, it became really, really reclusive. So, it's amazing. I would avoid kind of any situations with food.
Right.
So, and when you look at it, you might think, okay, but when you think about that's like work lunches or friends' birthdays or meals with families or weddings or barbecues, you know what I mean? And when you start avoiding these kind of things, and you're like cancelling on people at the last minute and making up excuses, and you then start, seeing your friends less.
Yeah.
You become like really unreliable, and then that makes you kind of feel bad, and you kind of already got a low sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
And that just reinforces that. And it's just all these things running concurrently, kind of the overtraining, the underfueling, the kind of the social, reclusion. It's just this incredibly difficult cycle to get out of. And clearly, for these 2 years, I hadn't told kind of anyone what was going on, and the only reason it actually came to a stop was I just went to the dentist. I've been having some toothache, and I just went to see my local dentist, and he basically said I'd lost 75% of my front sort of 3 or 4 teeth.
Ooh.
So because I was being sick so often, obviously you have acid in your stomach, and that was just eroding my teeth.
Right.
And he was quite honest. He said, look, you're going to need quite a bit of work done, and, we'll arrange another appointment and stuff. But then as I was leaving, he just said, kind of the nurse went out of the room, and he said, oh, can I have a word?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And he said, look, the amount of wear, I was 24 at the time. He was like, the amount of wear you have on your teeth, he said, this is either caused by acid reflux, like heartburn effectively, which is almost unheard of in someone of your age, or it's like self-enforced, i.e. vomiting.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I'm looking at you and you're incredibly skinny. You've told me you run a lot. Just like, are you making yourself sick? And it was like, it was one of those things where no one had kind of outright asked me.
Yeah.
Like, I think, you get the odd comment here and there about my weight. People, I remember getting like jokes in the pub where people would say stuff like, oh, how's the chemo going? All that sort of stuff. Because I was so underweight at that point.
Yeah.
But it was the first time someone had kind of directly kind of looked at me and just said, is this going on?
Yeah.
And because, I don't know, maybe if it was a friend or something, I could have kind of talked my way out of it.
Yeah.
But because he's a dentist, it's a clinical, it's very objective.
Yeah.
There was no kind of hiding place really. So I just said, well, yeah, and he was really good. He kind of said, this first thing you need to do, that's got to stop. The vomiting has got to stop.
Yeah.
Because I just got thinking, I was like, well, I'm 24. I've already got, looking back at photos, almost stumps of teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what am I going to do in, he was like, in 6 to 8 months time, they'll just be gone completely.
Right.
And then I was like, well, how am I going to explain to people that I'm 25 and I've got no teeth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It sounds
Yeah.
silly, but it was one of the things that I've been able to kind of talk my way out of everything, and
Yeah.
high weight loss behind training and make excuses for missing social events. And
Yeah.
but this was one thing I was like, I cannot talk my way out of this,
Yeah.
and that just terrified me.
Yeah.
And it was definitely the wake up call I needed. So pretty much overnight, it was like, right, that's got to stop.
Yeah.
Which, you know, there's no denying it was incredibly tough, because it was just for Christmas, and obviously Christmas, it's like, oh, you know,
Difficult.
Christmas dinners and,
Yeah.
you know, chocolate, and, you know, everyone just piles in over Christmas, which,
Yeah. It's a terrible
so that
time
was
if you've
really,
got a
really
problem with
tough.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, it become a habit, you know. It was a bit like a smoker, you know, who has cigarettes at certain times of the day. For me, it was like, you know, I'd have a meal and then make myself sick afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, and that sounds ridiculous now talking to you,
Yeah.
you know, a few years down the line, but breaking that routine, that cycle, was like the key to overcoming. So I would initially I ate really, really healthily afterwards, because I was like, okay, if I'm going to keep food down, it's got to be, you know, this ultra healthy food. And I initially probably offset that just by training more.
Right.
You know, so I was like, okay, well, I better up the training or else I'm going to get fat. You know what I mean? It's a weird thought process at the time, you know, seemed really rational.
Yeah. And what did you, with the running, were you enjoying it? And like, was there like, did you feel like this was helping you run? Did you feel like you had a goal with the running, that this weight loss and this routine was helping you achieve?
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole myth, it is a myth. I mean, I know people will argue it, but this whole, you know, lighter equals faster, it is, you know, it is a load of rubbish, really. But looking back, at no point really did losing a bit of weight at the start make me any faster.
Right.
And if anything, for those 2 years, I was injured all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I was exhausted because, you know, I would wake up exhausted.
Yeah.
Get out, go for a run, not eat anything all day, you know, and then you're in the cycle of feeling permanently shattered. You don't even sleep because your stomach, I was so hungry all the time. You know, I'd wake up in the night with stomach pains, and, you know, your body's just effectively starving, and you're you're wasting away, all your muscle mass is gone. So my ability to kind of withstand training was, you know, pathetic, really. I would just have bouncing from injury to injury because, you know, I didn't really have much muscle mass. I was frail. I was overtraining.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have energy for long runs, and your recovery is really poor. And so at no point was it like, this is really dangerous, but I'm running faster.
Yeah.
You know, training became this, I was a slave to the training, because I was like, well, if I don't run, I'm going to put on weight.
Oh, God.
You know, and if I, do you know what I mean? And if I don't run, people are going to wonder why I'm losing weight. So it became this cycle of, I'm just doing it to justify or validate my behavior. There was no point, was it, a balancing act between, this is incredibly dangerous, but you know, I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
There wasn't even really even a short term bounce, you know, before I crossed over that threshold into dangerously kind of underweight. It was pretty much just 2 years of bouncing from injury to injury and overtraining and just feeling exhausted all the time.
Yeah. And once you've broken that cycle then, so once you had spoken to the dentist and did you seek support from other people? Did you manage to, how did you put yourself on the right track?
So that was in December 2014. So I obviously got through Christmas, which was really tough. The biggest thing was just filling that time after meal time. So I would, if I knew I was having dinner at 6, I would arrange to see someone at 6:30, or, you know, book tickets to the cinema, or just do something that physically took away that temptation to make myself sick after meals. And it sounds silly now, but it is just breaking that routine, and I stopped weighing myself. That kind of I broke that cycle. And I think that's just important. I mean, once I broke the habit, and then I started to because I was suddenly eating and fueling,
Mm.
I would go out and run, and I had loads of energy. I could train, sort of, not train hard, that's the wrong word, but in sessions I could, hit better paces, or
You could
I'd
actually
feel better
perform.
on. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
could feel better. I'd feel better on long runs, and
yeah,
I I think what was really important for me was that kind of within those first few months of recovery, I well, that year, the year after I was in recovery,
yeah,
I broke every single PB from 5K to 10K, 10
yeah,
miles, half marathon and marathon,
yeah,
because it's so obvious looking back, but I was a lot heavier. I mean,
yeah,
there's no denying that's the hardest part of recovery, is accepting the fact that, you're going to have to throw your clothes out, because I was
yeah,
wearing, large boys or extra small men's, and suddenly none of my clothes fit me anymore,
yeah,
which is quite a stressful experience and expensive as well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, but suddenly I was like, I was bigger, but I
yeah,
wasn't, in my head, I wasn't fat. I was just, all the muscle mass that had just wasted away
mm.
was kind of back. I was stronger. I was fresher. Like, my recovery was better.
Yeah,
I was training, I was training less, but was way more,
yeah,
quality, and I got stronger. I got faster. I kind of broke all these PBs, and that just completely reinforced that, recovery was, as if, it was, I knew obviously that this was, I had to do this, not
yeah,
just because of my teeth, but I knew everything I was doing was, was unsustainable, and I didn't like the fact I was missing friends and stuff.
yeah,
But all through this period, I didn't tell anyone,
yeah,
which, looking
wow,
back, I don't quite know why.
yeah,
So that was December 2014 when I saw the dentist.
yeah,
I didn't tell another person until September 2015.
wow,
So it was just me,
lot to tackle.
fighting it on my own,
Yeah,
basically. Which, looking back, was completely 100% because I thought, I'm a man, and if I tell people I've got an eating disorder,
yeah,
they're just going to laugh at me.
yeah, pull
And
yourself
that's because
together.
there's this it's because
Yeah,
there's this horrendous stereotype. I mean, mental health in general, there's the whole, men in general find it hard to talk about things related to mental health, but
yeah,
eating disorders especially,
mm.
I feel like there's this massive stereotype that it's teenage girls who want to look skinny because they see photos of people in magazines, which is, it's incredibly damaging, because it's definitely not true.
Yeah,
But I think it acts as this huge barrier that stops men from talking about eating disorders.
yeah,
And especially for me, because I was 24 or 25.
yeah,
So it wasn't even like I was in my kind of adolescence, I was a full grown, healthy, athlete.
mm.
And I was just embarrassed to talk about it. So I just thought I would get better and never sort of tell anyone what had happened, and just, but people would obviously notice the fact I was getting bigger, and, I was no longer gaunt and pale, and,
Yeah,
I was much more, my mood improved. I looked better. I was stronger.
yeah,
My running was better.
yeah,
So no one ever really said to me kind of what's happened over the last 9 months. I don't know if it was just, in my head, it was just that I thought I could just go under the radar,
yeah,
just get better and never talk about it.
yeah,
But I realized kind of 9 months down the line that whilst physically I was, I was pretty much quite quickly back to my normal weight, because
mm.
as soon as I started putting the right, putting food in, my body just like lapped it
Loved it.
up.
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
been craving it for years.
yeah,
But mentally, I still didn't have a particularly, probably the relationship between food and running was probably too closely linked still.
yeah,
So it was kind of, I can eat what I want if I've run. If I haven't run, I've got to be good.
yeah,
And, I'd find it really, really hard to take rest days,
yeah. Okay.
because, do you know what I mean? Because it was
Yeah,
like, okay, if I've run, I can eat.
yeah,
And if I don't run, but I eat, I'm gonna, do you know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely.
that was still an issue. And it
Yeah,
may, it's probably still something, there's probably still some after effects now.
yeah,
But the next step was, speaking to my family and telling my parents and my friends, and I kind of bottled it in a way. So
yeah,
I was too scared to just sit down to people and say, look, I suffer with bulimia, whatever. And at this point, I'd managed to get a referral from my dentist, and So I'd had some crowns fitted.
Yeah.
So even my teeth were kind of restored. But so I probably could have just never said anything and maybe got away with it. But I just thought, you know, the next step is to actually kind of, because I was no longer ashamed of it. I think initially I was ashamed of it, didn't tell anyone. But the more I came to terms with it, the more comfortable I was.
Yeah.
But rather than just tell people, I created like a fundraising Just Giving page.
Right.
And basically just poured everything down onto this long Just Giving page, you know, from Kenya through to present day.
Yeah.
And basically just sent the link to my friends and was like, you might want to read this.
Really?
And yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I just sent them all a WhatsApp link and then turned my phone off.
Yeah.
For about 2 or 3 hours. I was terrified of seeing, you know, I thought they'd all laugh at me, which looking back, you know, they definitely would never have done that. But at the time I was like, I'm going to get ridiculed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just got inundated with support, really. And loads of people I hadn't, you know, I put it on my Facebook page and loads of friends I hadn't seen since school, you know, all these people were like talking about some of the experiences they've had, which I wasn't aware of, and support for me. So the next step of that was to then, I thought actually, no, I could turn this into something really positive. Because if this is how my friends are reacting, there must be other people out there like me. I just wrote a long Word document basically and sent it to Kate Carter at The Guardian.
Yeah.
And she published the story pretty much that week. You know, she didn't really change a word.
Wow.
And kind of from there, really, it's just been, the support has been amazing once it went on The Guardian website. You know, it was literally dozens of people saying, you know, I had this, or I have this now, or this is how I feel, or this is happening to me, which was really eye-opening. Because obviously during those 2 years, it was like, this is my issue. You know, I can't believe I'm, you know, very much, it's quite an isolating illness.
Yeah.
Because you become reclusive.
Yeah. Like every single runner, probably I know, would have had some kind of issue or, I don't know, I was going to say a chink in their relationship with food. Like looking back on my experience, I certainly know at certain stages of my running kit, if things haven't been going well, I've looked towards the fact that I might be carrying a bit more weight and started to worry about that and eat differently. And it's like looking at your experience, that one comment from a man can make like just one small thing can make such a
it was just one comment when I think I was in a really vulnerable position. Yeah. And it was just this one comment that caught me kind of at the right time in the wrong place, and it festered. But it's amazing. So that was kind of the end of that was the start of 2016. Yeah. And probably in those 2 years since, I had, you know, because I've written some other stuff and I've done, you know, like the odd podcast here and there and that kind of thing. And it is amazing how many, you know, I don't want to sort of over exaggerate, but I reckon I've had at least 100 people message me, men and women, not just, you know, of all abilities, not just people who are, you know, sub-elite or elite. Yeah. Just saying that, you know, I've either had this experience or I'm currently going through it. What should I do? Yeah. And it just seems like it's this massive issue. I don't think that's an over exaggeration. I think it's a really big issue. Yeah. That people either think is just part of running, which is quite scary, or people just feel like it's this taboo subject, possibly because there's a stereotype that it's, you know, young teenage girls and not, you know, men and women. Yeah. But I think, like, going back to your point, I think, I don't know where this has come from, but it feels to me like it's seen as the go-to thing. Yeah. So it's like, okay, my running's not great, I'll just lose a bit of weight, which is just really, you know, like looking back at my experience. So I had been running seriously with a club I did my first proper race in May 2012. I did my first marathon in October 2012. So I've been running seriously with a club for 5 months. And you just think about, you know, I'd never even done an interval session before May 2012. Yeah. So you look at it in terms of my, do you know what I mean? In terms of my performance potential. Yeah. I've been training properly for 5 months. There are probably hundreds of ways you could have made me faster. Yeah. You know, you could have monitored my training load, or different types of training or my equipment or my technique or strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
But the go-to thing was, oh, we'll just lose some weight.
Yeah.
And I think that's so dangerous because the vast, vast majority of club runners are already at a healthy weight, if not below a healthy weight.
Yeah.
So in terms of the general population, runners are already very healthy. But yet, for some reason, the go-to is always, well, if you just lose a bit of weight, you'll run faster.
Yeah.
Not realizing that actually that can lead to really unhealthy relationships with food. It can increase, your injury chances. It can lead to, underfueling and overtraining. And there's just so many. It's just lazy, really, just to say, it's almost like a cop out to say, well, I know.
Yeah.
Like you say, oh, my training's not great at the moment, but I'll just lose a bit of weight. It's kind of, there's just this understanding that there's no negatives to doing that, which is dangerous, really.
And I guess it hit a time.
But like you say, it's really common.
Yeah, and it's hit a time where socially people talk a lot about clean eating and the sort of thing which I guess mixes in with that sort of stuff. But what the hell does clean eating mean? Like, what, you're eating soap? It's just ridiculous.
I think it's twofold, really. I think definitely, like you say, what you were saying earlier just now about lots of runners who maybe have had some kind of brush with food. There's this massive association between, like, oh, I've been for a run, so I'll have a big slice of cake, as if you have to earn that slice of cake. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's almost these subconscious reinforcements that kind of food is a treat for doing something active, which is really, and then the two become intrinsically linked, and that's when you struggle to separate them. So I think there's that whole kind of, oh, I've done a long run, so I'll go and smash some cake, and there's that side of it, but also there's the social media side of it of, people cutting out gluten and dairy and just cutting out massive food groups because it's it's either a fad or because the bowl looks better on social media if there's not, do you know what I mean? It's sort of, it's cooler to say you've got soy almond milk than, whole milk. Or there's just lots of these things that are being put out there by kind of influencer social media people who have no qualifications at all. They're just people who took nice photos of bowls to the point where they got loads and loads of followers. And because they got loads of followers, they become an authority on nutrition. Without any kind of understanding and not realizing that there's this huge number of people who are influenced by them. Particularly young people, which is the scary thing. And, like you said, I don't know what clean eating, what does that actually mean? Like, it's really dangerous. And I think we've almost like sleepwalked our way into a tricky position where, I can see now why with social media and everything like that, it must be so difficult now for younger people, especially.
To pick the right path.
Not to get into these bad behaviours.
And so Train Brave started up this year, and what's the aims of the campaign? What are you hoping to achieve with it?
So basically, for a while I've written about kind of my experience is quite a bit on social media, and blogs and on Twitter mainly. And obviously there's been 2 or 3 or a few high profile cases where other athletes have spoken out about their issues with food and weight and, the dangers of, of energy deficiency and, not fueling training, and someone like Bobby Clay, whose story is just amazing. And I just felt like there'd been people out there who off their own back had spoken out, and there's been this incredible reaction and kind of outpouring from other people saying, oh, this happened to me and whatever. So the idea of the campaign was to I wanted to do something to try and bring everyone together. Because it just felt like it was people doing it off their own back. It would have a big impact, but then it would kind of fizzle out until the next person did it. So I've been thinking about that for a while, but then I was just out running one day and listened to a podcast that Renee McGregor was on, who I think she's been on your podcast before. She's a sports dietitian, but she specializes in working with athletes who have had or currently have eating disorders and have had Reds. I just thought, she's obviously an expert in this field. I can bring my personal experience, but that's unique to me. And obviously what I've spoken to other people about, but she kind of brings that clinical expertise, that clinician's objectivity, but also like a massive credibility within endurance sports through her work with, the Team GB ultra runners or gymnastics or whatever. So I just listened to this podcast she was on and just randomly just sent her an email pretty much as soon as I got back from my run. So it was during the heat wave. So I was just really sweaty, really hot, like covered in sun cream. And I just fired up his email thinking, she's super busy. I'll probably never hear back. And literally within 10 minutes, she was like, give me a ring. Because she'd spoken about a lot of things that I'd spoken about. She'd spoken about how too often, people who came to her had been encouraged to lose weight, or they felt like the best way they could improve their performance was to lose weight. And through that, they developed this really unhealthy relationship, and that just something needed to be done to maybe just educate athletes, but also coaches and clubs and kind of the whole culture and the environment. Because at the moment it seems, and like to use her words, it seems like the culture and the environment exists, and some people you put in there thrive and just lap it up. But there are other people like me who maybe are, our character types or our personality types or our past experiences, or, have kind of obsessive personalities or whatever, kind of get chewed up and spat out. And actually it needs to be a place where you could put anyone in. And those who need more support or more education or better advice or, can get it, and those who don't can just crack on. Because it's definitely not, I obviously had a really bad experience with this coach in Australia. But, I definitely don't want it to be seen as this is blaming clubs or coaches for not providing support, because ultimately most clubs and coaches are volunteers who, have jobs and families, and they're not expert clinicians in spotting and supporting eating disorders. So it's more just recognizing there are these shortfalls across the kind of all stakeholders within the sport. So the idea of the campaign is kind of to try and we want to share kind of stories from people who have had experiences, just to try and raise awareness, because everyone, whilst mine came in, my experience is my experience, other people have suffered at a younger age or at a higher level than I performed at, or at lower grassroots kind of big, entry level. So we want to try and get this kind of
dialogues,
real variety of stories to show that it's not just, there isn't just one pathway to this, getting in this position. So that's kind of one element of it. But also we wanted to try and provide more resources and support for clubs and coaches, so that if they have athletes who start to recognize these behaviors or are open about the fact they have eating disorders, that they're able to have kind of those difficult conversations, or they're able to, provide more information to the athletes, or there's better links to local health services or eating disorder charities. And essentially we just want to try and get to this position where everyone feels more comfortable talking about food and eating disorders and energy deficiency, and so that actually you can put anyone in that environment, and if someone needs help,
they know
the coach feels more comfortable talking about it, or the club is like, okay, right, we need to put you in touch with so and so, or the athletes are aware when they start to recognize these early things, like worrying too much about what they weigh, or weighing themselves too much, or they start to feel really, really cold on hot days, or these kind of warning signs that you are overtraining or underfueling, or your relationship with food's become disordered. Because I personally sort of just didn't recognize some of these warning signs until I was quite deep into it, and then it's hard to get out.
Harder.
So I feel like the more we can explain to athletes that, these are some of the things to look out for, and if you start to think you're behaving in this way or thinking this way, that actually these are some of the dangers, but this is what you can do to stop it. This is who you should speak to.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly where the campaign will take us, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we launched in kind of early October, and we've set up an event in December in London, just to bring everyone together, where kind of I'll talk about my experience, and we've got 3 or 4 other athletes who, men and women, who will speak about their experiences with RED-S and eating disorders. And then we'll have Rini and Nikki Kia, who is an endocrinologist for BASM. So there'll be twofold. It'll be kind of us sharing our stories and kind of, what happened with us and some of the consequences and things to look out for. But then Rini and Nikki will provide information to anyone who wants it on, this is what you can do. These are some of the physiological consequences, some of the psychological aspects. So we kind of want it to be this event that appeals to, it's not a training day, it's not a conference, it's not a lecture.
Yeah.
So it'll be quite an interactive day. And since we launched that at the start of October, we've had, I think, about 140 people sign up already.
And where can people sign up for that now? Is it still? Places?
Yeah, so it's just literally trainbrave.org is our website. The event's completely free. The campaign, there's no kind of ulterior motives behind it. I made the logo on Photoshop. I've made the website. Rini, we're managing the social media accounts ourselves. We paid for everything out of our own pockets. There's really there's no kind of, hidden agenda. It's very much like we're both really passionate about this area, because the prevalence among athletes and endurance sports especially is significantly higher than the rest of the population. So if everyone knows that athletes are more at risk, it just feels like we need to be proactive with this. And that's kind of the idea of the campaign, is that we'll hear from coaches, athletes and clinicians and clubs that understand some of the challenges everyone faces, and what stops them talking about this, and then seeing what we can do to provide more support.
Fantastic, excellent. Well, I'm a bit conscious. I'm sort of keeping you away from work for the last day. So right. I'll put some links to Train Brave and how people can get involved on the show notes. On Twitter, it's at Train Brave. Is that right? Or
so on Twitter and Instagram, it's at train_brave.
Yeah. Cool.
And the website is trainbrave.org.
Okay, fantastic. And I remember I've got 3 questions, quick fire questions to ask you at the end, which I ask all interviewees, and they are: if you could be anywhere running now, where would you be?
Good question. Probably back home. I run a lot in Rendlesham Forest, where there was a UFO sighting randomly, kind of in the 80s or the 90s. But it's where I've done a lot of training, and now I live down in London. Going back there to run is always amazing. So I'd probably go, let's go Rendlesham Forest.
Perfect. Second question is, can you recommend us something? So other than Train Brave, which obviously is a recommendation, you can recommend anything, TV show, film, music, podcast, anything you'd like to recommend to us?
I go podcasts. It's called Revisionist History with Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, he was himself a runner, wasn't he? Wasn't he a 1500 metre runner back in his high school
I'm not
days?
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure the name's familiar. I don't know why, but it's just really random topics, and it's just. It
is Gladwell. It's Malcolm Gladwell, right? Is that right?
Malcolm Gladwell, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy that was it the 10,000 hours theory? He was the guy that wrote that book, I think.
I think I have read that book, but I can't tell you who wrote it.
Anyway, the podcast is good, so check it out now. And the last question is, in your opinion, what's the greatest endurance performance of all time?
That's the question. I'm going to be biased because I work with her, but I'm going to say Chrissy Wellington's Ironman world record.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. And she's in the office there with you. She works at Parkrun there.
She does work for Parkrun. She's not based in our office, so
Right.
it's mainly just have smack talk over training via instant messenger. So yeah, we're both doing Valencia in December, Valencia
cool.
Marathon. So
Great.
there's been a bit of chat about that. So
Excellent.
but yeah,
Well,
she's an amazing athlete.
She is. Well, good luck for Valencia, and good luck with Train Brave. Hopefully, we'll help get the message out there, and it sounds like a really good thing to be a part of. And I urge everybody to, if you can get down to London, it's the 9th of December, right?
Yeah, it's the 9th of September. It's free. It's quite central, and hopefully in the future there'll be more events up north and wherever else anyone else wants to hear what we've got to say.
Great stuff. Well, thanks, Tom. Good luck.
All right.
Thanks,
Cheers, Sean.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks.
So, good interview there with Tom. Good to hear him talking about Train Brave there and how everyone else can get involved. And I do urge you, if you are part of a running club, to make that aware, let people in your club aware of that, the campaign, and to access the different resources and various initiatives they've got going on. So, nice one to Tom and to Rini for getting that thing started.
And another tip, a small tip, if you got, because I had this problem before when I went to Belgium. I went away, ordered a pasta dish.
Yeah.
It was like vegetable pasta dish, and I hate vegetables.
Yeah.
So I didn't really eat it.
Yeah.
And then I ran crap the next day because I didn't eat. So like, if you can't read the menu, use Google Translate.
Yeah, it's a good one. I remember Danny Russell, good friend of mine from Highgate. He always said, like, you go like with a group of runners, you go and you like be looking at different stuff to buy, and you think, oh god, I can't get anything here because this is fatty or this is that. And he just said, you're better off eating a McDonald's than eating nothing at all, because at least it's some kind of calories in there. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Anyways, we have had some good reviews. We have had at least 3. I should mention before it's too late, you can still buy some lovely t-shirts. We still want to see pictures of people in their t-shirts on buses. So get on and buy those t-shirts. Let's get running.co.uk/shop/t-shirt.
I might get complaints saying, why is everyone wearing this t-shirt on bus?
Yeah. If you can see Jermaine, like I've told you, if you see Jermaine on a bus and you can take a photo of you on a bus with Jermaine, you win the entire internet. I will sort that out for you. Yeah, it'll be good.
The entire internet?
The entire internet is yours. You get the freedom. The key to the internet becomes yours, and you can do what you want. So yeah, thanks. We've had loads of different reviews on loads of different formats. We've had a couple of reviews on our website, which is fine, from Peter and from right. It's an Irish name because I don't want to get it wrong. It's Carthel, I think, but I know we were going to call our daughter Aoife, and I know that Aoife spelt differently. So hopefully I've got it right. Oh no, he got it. He told me it's Carhall. Thank you, Carhall. He's a good man. But Peter says, "Hooray for another great show." This is about the last one. Ooh, and was that a change to the first question to the guest? Favorite place to run? Sorry, Peter, you're waffling on here. Said, well, that was a good comment, isn't it? No, anyway, keep up the entertaining and informative show, guys. Thanks, Peter. I read a bit of that. Good. Yeah, it was a waffle. I know Peter actually, so he was waffling on there. But thanks, Peter, for that. Carl says, review. He says, Jermaine and the White Devil. Love listening to the podcast. Great content on training, nutrition, the life of a runner, while also incorporating the much loved bus banter. Particularly enjoy hearing about the training sessions you're doing, Sean, from Carhall, the Irish runner studying physio in Teesside Uni. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the reviews.
That's good.
Always good.
You need that motivation picking back up.
I do, yeah, I do. And it just a note for everyone going forward: get those reviews on iTunes or wherever else. Not on the website is great, but get them on iTunes. It's always better for us to publicise and say. But thanks, guys, for the nice comments. It was nice to receive those.
And what else?
Here's some good ones. The most recent ones. Let's go. We got on from Up the Gate 1879. Here we go.
Highgate Harris. Up
the gate. It says, great chemistry between the devil and the kid. The opening section is always entertaining with news of what the kidders have been up to at the depot. Good luck in Frankfurt. It says, can you sort out loyal listeners out with a discount on the Mandem drink?
The Mandem.
It was a nice one. Thanks for that. Up the Gate 1879. Then we've got...
We should put loyal listeners, but they'd have to review regularly.
Yeah,
How would we know they're loyal? How would we know they're loyal?
Well, I think if you got a review on there, you are officially a friend of the show. And,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that provides, but thanks for that.
Sean, you'd think Sean is black, so he would give you a 3% discount off the next purchase.
3%, that's all they give, right? The next one, it says the title is Better Than the Rest. I think it must be a fan of the Tina Turner. And is that what she thinks? Better than all the rest. Wow, wow, wow. Is that the one? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a person called Sod Iron. Sod Iron. Interesting. It says, love the podcast. The last one had me laughing like a loon while stuck in traffic on the commute to work. Keep up the great work. 5
That's
stars.
Always good.
Lovely. 5 stars good. All the way. So another little diss to the 4 stars provided by the Ice Nutter. But anyway, there we go. Thanks, Sod Iron. Nice little review. Then we've got a good one. It's the title. It's good because it's short and sweet, but it tells you what we need to know. It says the title is just proper. That's all it needs to say.
The title is proper.
It just says proper. Proper.
Okay, is this proper the Queen that sent this? Okay, go on.
This is the Queen, proper English. And it's actually by someone very famous. It's by Mo Farah's Arm Warmers. That's by Mo Farah's Arm Warmers. Has produced that. And it says the only running podcast worth your time. Thanks for that.
Ooh,
there is other running podcasts out there. We're all friends in the podcast game.
We ain't. Please, if I saw them at the bus stop, I'd drive straight past them. Are you mad? And I say, we're the man them. We're the man them.
So thanks for those reviews. That was really good. So it's good to have those coming in. And yeah, that's it. I think any more of those is great. And then keep those orders for the t-shirts coming in. The vests should be up there this week too. So yeah, have a look for the vests, and hopefully you can be running in a Let's Get Running vest very shortly.
Winter's coming, and you're trying to sell vests.
Winter's coming. Holidays is coming. Yeah, I should get like a coat, shouldn't I, mate, or something? But they're too expensive to sort out.
What about willy warmers?
Well,
so what you could do? Because
what am I going to do for the ladies though, Jermaine? I've got the men. We've got male listeners and female. We've got willy warmers. We need some for the females too.
One problem at a time. But I know you like to cut costs, right?
Yeah.
So you could just buy gloves and cut the fingers off and sell them individually.
Don't mention about cutting costs. We provide a quality product here.
Because then that accommodates different sizes.
Exactly. That's what we're going to do. So look out for brand new willy warmers coming forward in the future. Nice one, right? Enjoy you're having a week off. You're in your week off now, aren't you? Having your nice week off work. Enjoy it.
It's just started, but I've still got loads of stories, so it's all good.
Perfect. Right. So we'll speak again next week.
Cool.
Wicked. Nice one.